So M. Bison has been out for about 24 hours now, so this guide isn't going to be all-inclusive by any stretch of the imagination. As always, learning these characters is a community effort, so if you know something that I don't, please leave it in the comment section down below so that other people can learn as well. From what I'm seeing, M. Bison is a strike throw character who forgoes some conventional tools like a fireball or a DP for just strong mid-dispensing pressure and really high damage. He's then able to use his new bomb special to both make that pressure more powerful and his damage more damagey. Getting into his normal moves, he has a 4-frame crouching light punch and standing light kick, with crouching light kick and standing light punch both being 5 frames. In terms of tick throwing, the only light that is able to go into a throw or threaten a throw without having to walk forward is crouching light punch. Every other button will make your throw whiff and you will have to walk forward just a little bit, so that is something to note. The only thing that threatens a strike throw is this crouching light punch. For medium buttons, your standing medium punch is an 8-frame normal that is 0 on block. It's generally one of your better pressure buttons. You also have crouching medium punch, which reaches a little bit further and comes out in 6 frames. And this is quite good, especially because when I go and turn blocking off, we'll notice that this is +6, so standing medium punch goes very naturally into crouching medium punch there. Your standing medium kick comes out in 10 frames and is like your furthest reaching poke. You're probably going to be doing this in neutral quite a bit, just because, again, it's a really far reaching poke. It's -3 on block, but he's also like 2 yards away from you, so he's not going to do anything to you. Your crouching medium kick is a little odd. It's stubbier than your standing medium kick is. Not by a lot, but by a noticeable amount. And if you look down at the bottom, it is -6 on block. And we haven't really gotten to specials yet, but just to quickly highlight it, if we do this, this is -14. If we do this, this is -5, which is better than -6. And I guess we have this, but this is also super minus, right? So it is a little bit weird that our low forward is -6 and we don't have like a really clear cut special to go into. This is -5, but they could probably put out a 5-frame and punish us here. So I don't know. It's a little bit bizarre. One thing I forgot about the standing medium punch is that it does have a couple of target combos out of it. So you have standing medium punch, forward heavy punch, which goes into his overhead. You can also just do this overhead by pushing forward heavy punch on its own. And the standing medium punch does also go into down heavy kick, which is this string. So standing medium punch on its own is a high-low mix-up because it can either go into this overhead or it can go into this low. And that's pretty good. The only one of those two that combos naturally on a grounded opponent is this low kick, but this other one can be used in certain juggle situations after like a drive rush, but we'll talk about that in a second. The other thing I want to note about this target combo right here is that it leaves you +3 and in their face, so it very naturally leads into a strike throw mix-up itself. You don't have to walk anywhere, you just push this, right? You can just throw them. And yeah, you can also do a strike. In terms of heavy buttons, your standing heavy punch is one of the slower buttons you have. It's 19 frames total, but as you can see, if you hit on that first frame because you're close to them, it is +1 on block. Super good. If you're able to space it and hit it a little bit meaty, then you are able to make it +2 or even +3. I'm not going to be able to do that right now because I pushed the record button. Hey, what do you know? Hey, there it is, +3. But yeah, you're able to make it pretty plus. You also have crouching heavy punch, which is really just an anti-air. You can use it sometimes in combos, but honestly, horizontally speaking, it's very stubby, so it can be difficult to even find uses for it within combos. This is just your anti-air button. It is a little bit slower than somebody else's anti-air button might be. It's just, at least that's the way it's felt to me, so I've had to push it slightly earlier than I might have to push like a Ryu or an Akuma crouching heavy punch. But I do think the hitbox on it is quite good. And I played a decent amount of Marissa, who had slow heavy punch. You don't give a fuck about who I played. Why am I talking about this? Standing heavy kick, quite good. The spacing on it and the pushback is honestly really nice for reasons that we'll talk about again when we get into our special moves. But yeah, I think it's just a good button. And this is also one of your, if I put it on always counter, I'm sorry, am I an idiot? Always punish counter, yeah. It'll give you a crumple if you're using it to punish a DP or something like that. So that's pretty good. And then you have crouching heavy kick, which is now a sweep. Like a conventional sweep. Typically it looks something like this. Hey-oh, this is now down forward heavy kick. This move is a bait. It's always been a bait. In terms of like neutral, like you're just gonna get blocked and then killed for doing this. And in terms of combos, there are other tools that are either going to give you like a bomb that's on them that is just a really nice resource to have, or more damage and just a fine Oki situation anyway. So if I could remove this input from my controller, I would. Is my read of it right now. Maybe people will find a use for it later on. You also have back heavy kick, which is hella good because it might be a little bit stubby, like it doesn't really go anywhere. But as you can see, it is also +1, so you can frame trap into crouching light punch or standing light kick again. Let's talk about specials. The one you're probably going to be doing the most is this quarter circle forward kick. It sort of describes in the character guide that you want to hit with just the tip, and that is true. It's pretty important because if I were to do it at like point blank range, I am -5 and I'm like right in his face, so I am in punishing range, and that's true of all of these. The heavy kick one is -4. This one's -5. Is this actually -4? It is actually -4. Okay, so that's good to know. And then the EX one is a combo tool. If you do this and they block it, then you will die. So don't do that. You can learn to space these naturally, and you should, quite frankly. But just for like a couple of auto spacing things, let's talk about it real quick. After you do a standing medium kick at max range, you can then do the light version of this, and you'll hit with the tip pretty much every time. Well, with a caveat. If they are crouch blocking, or they're sitting still, or their back is in a corner or something like that, this will work into this light kick version. If they are in the middle of the screen and they're back walking, then after this you want to do the medium kick version, and then that'll hit with the tip as well. This same concept is also true of heavy kick, right? If they're walking away from you in the middle of the screen, you can do medium kick, and then if they are in place, you can do light kick, and you'll hit with the tip either way. Note, this is obviously not like real. Like they could stuff this, they could DP. There are a number of answers to this auto spacing concept, but it is a quick way to get comfortable with where exactly these spacings are, and it can be a cute little thing to throw in there just to trip the opponent up every so often. So don't do this willy-nilly, but it is definitely something that you can and should use every so often. And it's important to do it after, you know, multiple different normals as well, because you don't want it to be like, oh, they medium kicked, I know what they're going to do now, right? The other important thing about this move is that on hit, it's pretty much always going to give you a strike throw situation. So we hit this move, we're +2 and we're in their face. A throw comes out on the 5th frame. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 3 is less than 4. So, you know, it's going to beat out pretty much anything there. And obviously, again, you're +2, so you have the strike throw. You could do crouching medium punch because it's 6 frames. Again, 6 minus 2 is 4, and then so you would trade. You would maybe be able to get something there. Or you could do like a standing light punch if you wanted to, or something like that. Again, the EX version of this move is a combo tool. You can use it to do stuff like this, or I don't know, put the bomb on him. You get the idea. He still has Psycho Crusher, which is a back forward charge motion. The normal versions of this move will go through a single projectile, and the EX version of the move will go through multiple projectile hits. I believe it's just fully projectile invulnerable. All of these versions, the normal versions at least, are all death on block, with a caveat that we'll get to in just a moment. Right? But the EX version is actually only -3. You are technically safe. You are like in a bad position because you're -3 and in their face, so they have the option of going for a strike throw mix-up of their own, but you do have the timing to be able to dash back if you are predicting a throw. So that's nice at least. Now we can get to the juicier, newer stuff. So we have this bomb move. The bomb special is hella good. On its own, the bomb will detonate if left alone for a certain period of time. One thing about this type of move is typically in an anime game, when you have something like this, if it blows up too early or it blows up too late, it tends to be kind of useless, because if you blow up too early, then you don't have time to establish any kind of mix, and if you blow up too late, then it's not implying enough of a threat, right? I feel like this bomb hits a really nice middle ground where you have enough time to do like a little bit of pressure, but the bomb will go off if it goes off early enough to still be a threat to somebody, right? So that's pretty good. Once you've applied the bomb to somebody, it does a lot of things. So for one, it makes this move plus now. So your Psycho Crushers are all plus. I don't know if they're all +6. I'm kind of curious. Let's see. So this is the heavy one now. That's +5. Okay. And then we'll do the light one. Okay, that one's +6. So it looks like the light and medium are +6, but the heavy one is +5. And then the bomb move itself on block also becomes plus, right? +6, and I have a feeling that the heavy one will be +5 if game design is game designing. Nope, it's also +6. All right, I'll go fuck myself. My fault. On hit, these give slightly less of a reward than you might be expecting. The light and medium versions of these moves, like you see it causes a detonation there, but he falls too quickly for you to actually get anything off of it. If I were to do the heavy version of Psycho Crusher, he pops up high enough that I am able to get something off. Let's see if I can do quarter circle back punch. Okay, yeah, so you could even get another bomb on them. So the high version will pop them up enough, and then if I do the medium version of this, you see they pop up, but it's not fast enough. Or I'm sorry, it's not high enough for me to be able to get anything after this. Like, there's just no time. But if I were to do the heavy punch version of this, it does pop them up high enough, and then you're able to get some stuff. Let me see if I can remember what any of that is. You can at least do that, so. Point proven enough. So everybody has their own play style and their own priorities when they play a game like this, but personally my philosophy is that I'll cash out, I'll spend all of my resources if I think I have a game-ending combo, right? But if I'm not going to end the game, I generally prioritize whatever the wake up or the Oki situation is going to be after I land a hit because the game is still going. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. First, in the dummy settings, I have set the opponent to recover backwards. Just to quickly talk about it in case you're not aware, I've done this because if I do this move and I knock them down, you see that it's +24. And if I set them to recover in place and then I do the exact same move, it's still +24. This is because whether the opponent recovers in place or recovers backwards, the timing is exactly the same. They're going to be waking up on the exact same frame. So generally, you just want to find Oki that is going to work for the harder to cover of the two, because whenever you find something that can cover the back tech, you're covering something that is going to cover neutral getup as well. In general, I think Psycho Crusher is going to give you your best knockdown. If we use it in point blank like this, and then we dash forward, you can see that we're +1. That's not enough to be able to get a strike throw mix up because, again, throws in this game come out on the 5th frame, and so if they push a 4 frame button, then they're going to counter hit you. But you are still +1 to be able to do a 4 frame button and keep your turn, keep your pressure going. So that is pretty cool. None of your other moves are going to give you a knockdown, and that's good anyway. So you have bomb, but no matter what version of the bomb you use, they're going to go flying to the other side of the screen. EX bomb does leave them pretty close. So if we dash up here, we are +5. This isn't flush, so we can't like go for a strike throw there. But we are +5, so oop, I didn't mean to dash up twice. We should be able to frame trap with a button like that, so that's pretty good. And yeah, like we mentioned earlier, when you do this in combos, you're always in that strike throw range. The one thing I didn't mention earlier is that if you actually just hit with the tip of this move, you're not actually in this. So I kind of misled you, kind of baited you earlier. That's my fault. But anytime you are doing this as part of a combo, you are going to be flush enough to be able to do that. One other thing I kind of noted, this is maybe an inappropriate time to bring this up, but just while I'm thinking about it, this move, one of the things that you're able to do out of your light punches, so Psycho Crusher as an example doesn't combo naturally even if I do the fastest one out of light punch, and you can do scissor kick, but again, that's not going to give you a knockdown. However, you know, you are able to do that into the light version of this, right? But there is a very specific range, like right at the tip of light punch, where that first hit will whiff. And it's a very specific spacing. Like most of the time it will hit. But it is something to be aware of. Kind of whack. I just remember there's an entire other special move that I haven't talked about at all. I'm all over the place today. It's a down up charge with kicks. He goes into this little flight mode, or not flight, but he goes into what is basically like a demon flip type stance, I guess, where he has special follow-ups out of it. So there is the kick follow-up, and then he has a punch follow-up. The punch follow-up is pretty good because it is +4 or 5 generally every time it connects, which is quite nice. And the EX version, I believe, what the freak, is also +4. So that's quite good. The stomp version has a follow-up punch, which is also hella plus, so that's pretty cool. Or you could just go back to where you were. Right? You don't have to commit to anything. So that's pretty cool. Using this move is one of the more creative ways I was able to cover the weaknesses of crouching medium kick. So again, we talked about crouching medium kick with -6, and it's, unless you're doing it at like max range, it's generally not the correct spacing to do scissor kicks, which leaves us in kind of an awkward predicament because everything else is more minus than that. But if you do something like that, which again, those aren't real frame chaps, so you're not technically allowed to do this, but if you do like a couple of crouching buttons into this, or you do like this into that, or you do like this plus button or something, right? You can go into the flip, and then it kind of gets you off the ground. You know, you're not able to get counter hit, especially because, like, sure, this is -6 on block, but if you cancel it into this special, you're technically canceling here at this point. So by the time your opponent has left block stun, you've already been in this special for like 12 frames, so you're probably already up in the air at that point. Like, let's see if I can visualize it. Yeah, by the time he's out of it, you're already way up in the air. So obviously he could still anti-AU and stuff, but it is like another way to kind of cover the fact that, hey, this is a low 4 that is literally -6 on block. So anyway, back to knockdowns. I'm really all over the place today. Generally, I think mid-screen you would like to go into Psycho Crusher because of the reasons we highlighted earlier, but some of the weaknesses of this are that, again, you're not able to combo into it out of lights, and it's also a charge move, so you kind of have to be conscious of the fact that you want to end with this while you're already doing your combo. A lot of the times you're going to be like linking down into your lights because those are the only things that are going to be fast enough to link off of some of your buttons. And once you made it down to your lights, the only special you really can combo with is, or I guess get a knockdown with, is this quarter circle back quarter circle back light punch. Or you can do this and then just go for your strike throw mix up. Again, this isn't a knockdown, but yeah, that's kind of like the mid-screen flow. You would like to do this if you can do it off of like your medium punches. Like you could do, whoop, right? Ignore that back heavy kick. There you go. But again, once you've made it down to your lights, you will have to do that again. Once we make it to the corner, I think you no longer want to end with Psycho Crusher just because there just really isn't a reason to. You don't have to try to cover back tech anymore. At this point, you should pretty much always just do the quarter circle back punch. As a general rule of thumb, you can do your light punch version off of your light attacks, you can do the medium punch version off of your medium attacks, and you can do the heavy punch version off of your heavy attacks. As an exception to that rule, it is important to note that standing medium punch can combo into the heavy punch variant, and that's going to come up a lot in your combos, especially because the heavy punch variant is the only one that gives you an extension once you actually have the bomb on somebody. Once we have the bomb and the corner, the world is kind of our oyster. So once I apply bomb, I can go for a throw, and I still have plenty of time to go for mix-up after this, and then the bomb will detonate. It's one of the things that's nice about how long it takes this bomb to detonate and sort of the timing of it. So what we can do is we'll apply bomb, they'll wake up, I'll do a throw, I'll walk up, back heavy kick, and then from there you can go into your medium. The thing that's really nice about medium and the way it interacts with bomb is that every time you do medium, the opponent isn't sure whether they're going to see the low or the high, or the overhead. So it in itself is a mix-up that can lead to a really good opportunity if you have the bomb behind it to be able to actually get a full combo off of it. So again, if I do something like this, I do a throw, boop, boop, right? That could have been the, fuck, I just messed it up. Throw. See? You get that timing, and then you can do something like that, or you could reapply the bomb instead of doing scissor kick. That honestly would have been even better. Yeah, there are a ton of different options, and I'm pretty sure I did the low there. You could also do the overhead there, right? There's a bunch of different options. In terms of comboing off the bomb detonation, I think if you're relatively close to them, because let's say that it detonated because you shimmied them or something like that, you can do this into either scissor kick, or again, I think what's even better is quarter circle back heavy punch to reapply bomb. right? That's pretty good, especially if it sends him to the corner. You could also, I do believe, yeah. And then that wake up is honestly very good because unlike last time, you're hitting somebody out of the air, which gives just another couple of frames for them to have to make contact with the ground and changes the wake up timing. So much better and in your favor. One last thing is that if you do the level 1 super, I haven't talked about the supers at all. Damn, I'm fucking up. We'll do that in a second. But if you do this level 1 super, Jesus. If you do this level 1 super, it has crazy corner carry. Yeah, there we go. Look at how far that guy, he's literally in the corner right now. I mean, obviously we're not getting Oki because we're on the other side of the world, but damn. That carries so far. Another thing about comboing off bomb detonation, sometimes it'll detonate when they're pretty far away from you. Honestly, this is pretty rare because there isn't a lot of reason for this to happen, but in case it does happen, I recommend drive rushing in with this target combo, which will put them in that bounce state. And then after that, you could do a sweep and then you dash up and you should have a decent amount of frames there. So, or you could put the bomb on them, that also works. So one last time. Hey, there we go. So you're still plus 11. This isn't real Oki, but it's a spacing where you could do this at least. Supers, let's talk about them. You have double quarter circle forward kicks, which is this one. We literally just talked about it. It's a good cash out. It has a ton of corner carry. And the other thing is that because he doesn't have a conventional DP, it is one of the only invincible things you can do on wake up to beat like a strike or a throw and not have to guess between those two. Obviously loses the block. The other move that you have is, well, obviously there's 3 supers. You have quarter circle back kicks, which is a stomp. Very funny super, hilarious super actually. It's just a good cash out super. It does a ton of damage. The reason it's funny is because you can change how far it travels by pushing either back or forward on the stick. So if I hold back, you see he goes and lands in front of you. If I hold forward, he actually lands on the other side. So in a way, this move can be its own mix-up. I had a situation earlier where I was in the corner and my opponent tried to shimmy me, and then I just did this on wake up and I crossed him up and he just wasn't expecting it. So that's not professional advice, but it is a funny tool and it makes me smile. So I would recommend doing it anyway. We have double quarter circle forward punch. This is way stubbier than you think it is. It looks like he's just doing this same animation, the Psycho Crusher animation. Not at all. Look at how little he travels, right? So you do have to be wary of that. There are situations that it can whiff in that you might not be expecting, but it does do a tremendous amount of damage, especially if you are in that yellow life range. Pretty cool super. In terms of DI combos, these are probably not optimal, but this is the stuff that I've found so far. If you get one in mid-screen, I think you should do something like this. That's the light punch version. That's pretty good. If you wanted to spend a little bit of meter, I think something even better is something like this. And then right there, we're doing the medium punch Psycho Crusher for 2 reasons. One, it gives us a really good spacing for Oki. And you see if I dash up, we're plus 8. The other thing is that if you do the heavy punch version instead, I'll just show you here. You notice that he swaps over to the other side. So definitely want to use the medium punch version if you're doing that specific combo. If we take him to the corner, I think one of the things you want to do here is this target combo into the light punch version. You could also do that combo into the EX version of this. I think those are both pretty good. I wouldn't recommend doing this in this area. I think most of the reason why you want to use that move is for the corner carry that it provides, and we're already here. You would much rather just make use of this mechanic. I think one of the bigger ways that this character is able to get damage is through the special animation that Psycho Crusher gets, EX Psycho Crusher gets after you have a bomb placed on somebody. So if I put this bomb on Ryu, and I do EX Psycho Crusher, it sort of launches them up into the air. You're able to follow up and you do a bunch of different combos off of that. For a meterless option, I think going for the medium punch Psycho Crusher is quite good because it gives you a really good Oki situation after it. If you are relatively close to the corner, then I think you probably just want to put a bomb on them. That's pretty straightforward. And if you have a little bit of bar to spend, I recommend doing something like that into the super, because that's just going to give you a ton of corner carry. There's almost no shot that you did EX Psycho Crusher into a drive rush, into a target combo, into that level 1 super, and did not make it to the corner. You made it to the corner, right? You're there. But yeah, I think this is the character in a nutshell. You're going to poke at them with stand medium kick. You can poke at them with standing heavy punch. Thing to note about both of those is that neither of them are special cancelable, so they are weak to DI. Something to know. You're also going to pressure with tools like this to generate plus frames, and then be able to frame trap into some of your lights and stuff like that. If you are hit confirming into your lights, you're going to do the light version of this just to get your special ender. If you happen to get a bigger hit and you know that you're getting it, you're able to combo just down into mediums. Then maybe you do Psycho Crusher instead, because it's going to give you a better Oki situation mid-screen. You're really just trying to push them to the corner, because once you're in the corner, your bomb becomes a lot better. You can go for your strike throw mix-up. You can go for your high-low off of target combos, and you're just really, really threatening here. And you do a ton of damage. You have new routes in the corner. And yeah, there's just a ton of different stuff. We didn't really cover combos in this video. I do recommend just going in and doing the combo trials. I think they're going to teach you a lot more than I would be able to do. And, you know, I wanted to cover stuff that you won't be able to learn just through playing the game. So, yeah, hopefully you found this useful. If you did, I'm not going to say all the YouTube stuff. I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace.